Alright, Season 35 opener. The intro video was made by WhiteMummy of NewN. He makes a season starting video for every season, and I used it last season for my intro. I asked him if I could use this one again, and he said yes, because he's awesome. So, my team today is going to be Mole Man, Spidey, and Agent Venom, and we are going up against XK9. I selected the Defiance attack tactic, even though none of my champs benefit from it, just so that I'm in the habit of it, because you don't want to forget that if you do end up using a Defiance champ. So in Section 1, I'm starting out on Path 8. I'm going to have this Hyperion here. It's the only fight in Section 1 for me. And this node is Rich Get Richer Fury, so whichever champ gets more buffs is going to start building Fury effects. And Spidey can't get any buffs, but he controls power really well. So my strategy for this one is just to keep reversing his power. And I was a little bit concerned that the Furies might get out of hand. However, once buffs drop off of him, the passive ones go away. So I knew that I would just have to keep my distance and let them fall off so that they didn't get too out of control, and it should be a pretty easy fight. I'm going to drop my special 2. Now I have 2 withers on, a couple of exhaustions. I'm reversing his power gain. I'm waiting here for the power gain buff to drop off, and then he ends up dying really quickly, much quicker than I expected. And then moving into Section 2, I have this void here to open up the section. This is the only fight this war that I'm going to be using Mole Man in, and I've never done this fight before, so I watched a couple videos and it seemed easy enough, but I'm definitely going to make a mistake in this fight. So the strategy is to let him hit my block. It'll put a disorient on me, which I'll then purify, and I'll get the counterpunch charge from using a monster mass, and I can purify any of the debuffs that he puts on me. And I did not mean to get hit there. In theory, that works really, really well, as long as you're managing your monster mass. But at some point in this fight, I am going to lose control of it, and I'm going to let it get too high. So right here I have 5. I want to let it drop off, but he hits my block with that, and now I have 6, and I realize that, and at that point I know that I'm going to trigger Frenzy. So I could have tried dancing around and trying to go for only intercepts, but I figured that would probably end badly, so I'm just going to force it and push through it, because I know that I can out-damage him as long as I'm aggressive, and it ended up working out. Now moving into Section 2, I'm going to be on Path 8 again. This one is Rich Get Richer Power Gain, so he's going to have more buffs than me, obviously, but he gets his own power gain buff, and the Rich Get Richer will give him power as well, and I can just reverse all of that. So as long as I don't let my wither drop off, I can just keep him at 0 power for the entire fight, and that's actually exactly what I'm going to do. I'm only going to hit him 3 times, I think. Maybe 4 hits, 3 hits, 4 hits. I think it was 3. And so what I'm doing here is, because I'm reversing his power gain, each time I hit his block, it gives him a tiny little bit, and then I bring him back down to 0 power. And anytime you cross a power threshold or you empty your power to 0, the ruptures burst, and that just deals a ton of damage. And next up, I have this white mags. I was a little bit concerned about this one, because the only way he gets buffs is by hitting him, and so when you hit him, he has a chance to get prowess, and without prowess he can still get power, because I can't reverse the Rich Get Richer. So my goal was to try and not let him get a bar of power, but that was all reliant on the RNG triggering his prowess. So I'm going to focus on keeping those buffs up on him, but at some point I'm not going to be able to, and I'm going to have to push him past a bar of power, like right here. It's inevitable. So I drop my special 2, get another wither up. I have prowess on him, and I was going to just block, but he ended up throwing it, and I decided to just block it because I knew it wouldn't do that much damage. And at this point, the fight's pretty much over. He's going to go down here. And then after White Mags, I have this Skrull. This one is also Rich Get Richer power gain, but it has Aspect of Evolution on it as well. And I'm going to treat this fight the same way that I treat the Dragon Man fight, where I'm going to try not to let him even get a bar of power. And I want to reverse his power enough that I can get him down to 0. But I don't think I get enough power reversal in this one. So what I want to pay attention to is not letting my wither drop off. And I just want to watch that falter timer that he has up there. So I'm hitting his block right now. I'm reversing his power, building up my ruptures. Now if I can get him down to absolutely 0 power, I can start bursting them. But now I have the falter on me, and I want to hit his block to remove that. And I'm trying to pause my debuffs now, but he ended up throwing a lot of heavies, and I remember this fight felt like he was being a bit defensive. Yeah, so right here I'm trying to pause my wither. I get a pause there. I'm building up more ruptures, but he throws a heavy again rather than coming back in on me, and I see that falter timer is about to trigger. So now I have falter on me. I'm trying to get him to back off. He doesn't want to, so I just go in for the quick miss after a heavy and then dash back out. My wither's about to drop off, but I drop my special 2 and it kills him. Even if it didn't, I would have got another wither up. So this fight, I was definitely scared about this fight, but I was excited to try it. I watched Karate Mike do this fight, and his strategy was beautiful for it. So I watched it quite a few times. I practiced my spacing on punishing his special 1 with a heavy, and I'm going to do it the exact same way that Karate Mike does it. His strategy was beautiful for it. So when the fight starts, it puts a wither on him, and he obviously purifies that because of Conflictor, and then you punish his special 1 with a heavy, which puts an exhaustion on, and that triggers Conflictor. So the goal is to get yourself up to a special 2, trigger Conflictor, and then drop it and get the wither on him, and now you can reverse any power gain from Conflictor. So right here I heavy him, it puts the exhaustion on, Conflictor triggers, but it reverses his power gain. And I'm going to hit his block here, build up some ruptures. I would have liked to try and just hit his block to finish the fight out and just keep him at 0 power, but you also have to pay attention to his focus. Right here I'm going to drop my special 2, and he's pretty much going to go down. I was very, very happy with this fight. I practiced it a lot, and it went really smoothly. And then next up I have Mangog. I don't even know if that guy was an R3 or an R4. I stopped paying attention because I don't think it really matters if you're taking this fight with Spidey. So I have a power start 1 because I used one for the Maw fight. Otherwise I wouldn't have, because I figured out in the off season or in the last war of the season how to do this fight without one. And it's just a matter of building up to 5 exhaustions right off the bat while you're working up to your second wither. In this one here though, because I started with a bar of power, I just built to my second wither first. I only have 2 exhaustions up along with my 2 withers, but I'm not exactly reversing his power yet. And I feel like the AI in this fight was a little bit weird. It was a little bit weirder than normal. He wanted to throw a decent amount of heavies. Here, I'm gonna get my 3rd wither now. I'm reversing his power pretty good. So I'm just gonna let the ruptures do their work. Land a heavy for the exhaustion, and then he's gonna burst right there. And that was it for my war. So we ended up losing this one. The war isn't over yet, but it's clear that we have lost at this point. we normally have a really bad season opener. The start of this war, the first 2/3 of it, though, were looking really, really good for us. And then, unfortunately, we couldn't keep it together at the end. But that is all she wrote. Congrats to XK9. And that's it.